Well, Jim, let's talk about the ratings and let's see if these were good or bad indie ratings. AEW Dynamite on March 12th on TBS, 8 to 10:08 p.m. On average, watched by 628,000 viewers.
Boy, howdy, they ought to be turning cartwheels down there in Jacksonville. They got back up over 600. Remember, they were 500 something for 2 weeks. They hit 600 even last week, and they actually got 28,000 more people for this show. That's luck.
This is 7% up on the 4-week average of 585. Let's go to the
What
quarter.
would they have tuned in to see here that could have been advertised ahead of time? Or is it just they just happened to pick a night like this to watch the show? There's nothing. I don't know what they advertised ahead of time, but there's nothing that could be advertised ahead of time. No match.
Well, again,
we'll hear from so-and-so.
Well, although comparing it to last week, we have to bring up they were against NXT in a lot of places last week. So that's
very true, because they were bouncing back and forth as we saw all over the place. But
and it killed the key demo. But let's go to the ratings here. These were these are television ratings. That is indeed the word.
Yes, that's the word that we normally use every week here in this segment.
These were compiled by WrestleNomics, quarter 1, 8 to 8:15 p.m. The Kenny Omega live promo, Eli Thesis, Gabriel Eros, and Vinny Pacifico versus the Ops, the Ricochet backstage promo, and the Swerve Strickland backstage promo, 749,000 viewers.
Okay, I think they started out a little bit better than last week from what I recall. Not the 8s and 9s that they used to have, but those days are gone. The Big Bang Theory got poisoned. But they're gonna lose some fucking viewers over the course of this thing if that's where they're starting.
Well, we go to quarter 2, 8:15, 8:30 p.m. The Swerve Strickland Cope backstage confrontation, the John Moxley backstage promo, and the start of Brian Cage and Dralistico versus Powerhouse Hobbs and Hologram. 604,000 viewers.
Oh, good Lord. Okay. Now let me reevaluate that. They lost 145,000 people in the first 15 minutes. Now where they are, they're going to have to stay fairly steady until at least the last couple quarters of this thing to be able to make the average.
Well, we go to quarter 3, 8:30 to 8:45 p.m. The continuation of Cage and Dralistico versus Hobbs and Hologram, the post-match with Lance Archer and Mark Davis, the Hurt Syndicate backstage promo, and the Tony Storm Mariah May video, followed by Storm Megan Bayne ramp angle and an ad break. 645,000 viewers.
So the girls brought back 41,000 sexually frustrated AEW fans. What I can read into that.
Well, we go to quarter 4, 8:45 to 9 p.m.
What is there for us frustrated wrestling fans?
The Beast Mortos versus Speedball Mike Bailey with
Speed Bailey. It just ought to be Speed Bailey.
With picture-in-picture, 611,000 viewers. Also, the low point in the key demo, 198,000.
And I mean, I would expect the last quarter or two to be lower than this just because of the stinky show leading up to it. But again, who's going to watch this fucking bull in a mask against a guy that we've never seen that looks like he's in the 6th grade?
It'll be interesting to see who stays to watch him the next time he's on. We go now to the big 9 o'clock hour, quarter 5, 9 to 9:15 p.m. Continuation of Beast versus Bailey, the Patriarchy backstage angle, the MJF backstage angle, and the MJF MVP live promo. 649,000 viewers. And the high point in the key demo, 244.
So they went from the Outhouse to the penthouse in the key demo in 2 segments. And at the top of the hour, they gained 38,000 people to get them back a little bit over where they were in quarter 3. And it was MJF. He still means a little something till they get finished stomping those embers out.
Well, we go now to quarter 6, 9:15 to 9:30 p.m. An ad break. The Max Caster live promo, Caster versus Takeshita, a Revolution recap, the Chris Jericho backstage promo, and the start of Penelope Ford versus Willow Nightingale with picture-in-picture. 634,000 viewers.
And back down 15. They're still in the pocket. From quarter 2 on, they've been between 604 and 649. And I have my suspicions, but I'll wait for 7 and 8 in the overrun to tell you.
Let's go to quarter 7, 9:30 to 9:45 p.m. The continuation of Ford versus Willow. The post-match with Megan Bayne. The Mercedes Moné Billy Starks backstage angle. And the Will Ospreay live promo. 608,000 viewers.
And still in that same pocket. And now quarter 8 has to fall off the cliff.
We go now to quarter 8. I remind you, we have an 8-minute overrun. Quarter 8, 9:45 to 10 p.m. The Jay White backstage promo, an ad break, Adam Page and MJF's backstage angle, and the start of Orange Cassidy versus Hechicero with picture-in-picture. 570,000 viewers. 8-minute overrun, including the post-match with Speedball Mike Bailey. 535,000 viewers.
Oh, good Lord. So the lowest quarter hour was the last, as I figured, but then they managed to run 35,000 people off the overrun. Not only did nobody tune in to watch Modern Family, but the people that were already watching this fucking show wouldn't hang with it because of pockets. This is what we've got now. They used to start a few years ago with the Big Bang lead-in that was 800-something thousand or 900-something thousand, and they would lose the viewership pretty steadily through the show, but because they started higher, they were still ending up in a 6s or 7s, and that was considered crummy at the end of the show. Now what they've done is they're starting lower, but they're still losing usually a good chunk of people after the first 15 minutes that just didn't bargain for anything like this. But they're more consistent now because they are down to the people that are going to watch this show because this is the kind of wrestling that they like, or they hope it's going to be good, or they're more devoted. And they might bounce back and forth a little bit, but after the first quarter, until quarter 8, they were between 604 and 649,000 people. And it goes back and forth rather than just being a continuous downhill drop that like it used to be. So I think this is the base audience. And then quarter 8, they're losing another 38,000, being 570, and then another 35,000 for the overrun. That's when the base audience of 600 and something thousand sees that, okay, the only thing that's left is something that we don't even want to see. And then they lose about 75,000 of those. But otherwise, if this many people are watching this show, they're watching it on purpose. They don't care whether it's any good or not, because these shows have been worse and worse. So this, to me, seems like it's the base audience. They're going to have to really fuck up in some kind of major way to lose a significant portion of the 650,000 they've got left. Don't you think?
If I'm reading this chart correctly, there's a WrestleNomics chart here. It seems to indicate this past week that we just reviewed was down 19% off of last year, the same week. And if you look at the entire year, 24, the entire year, was 18% less than 23. And so far, 25 is 25% less than 24. And that's the first quarter of the year, by and large.
Yeah. I mean, they have lost audience every year because of all the reasons we've said. How long can you watch the same goddamn thing? The same kind of matches, the same way, and they've done everything. But they're gonna get a baseline to where that, this is the amount of people that will watch or tolerate or get into or be interested in indie wrestling in the United States. And that's about where they're at now. They might lose small numbers at a time now, but I don't think they can do almost anything and run the rest of these people off because this is what those people like. They think it's good. So we'll see. I don't, in a year, we'll see if we're talking about they're starting in the sixes and ending in the fours instead of starting in the sixes and ending in the fives.
Well, those are the ratings, AEW Dynamite. We'll see what happens next week. And this is your show.